Guy's first appointment is in the middle of Riga's medieval Old Town, with a genealogist who's been researching his family history for 3 months. Dr. Alexander's Feimanis.
So, the very first documents I find about your relatives, I find in 1835 census. Andrei Kidel, which was born in 1790s in southeastern Latvia, precisely on the border with Lithuania.
Right, okay, yeah.
All that area was inhabited by Curonians, so you are descendant of Curonians.
Curonian, what's a Curonian?
It was very brave tribe because they made a war with Vikings.
Right.
The Curonians were ruthless pirates and the heroes of many Middle Ages legends. Guy is related to one of the toughest tribes in history.
What is interesting is that in the Olive Church you can find a bell with inscription, God save us from devil and Curonians.
Viking fighters. Bit amazing, that.
So we know that your great-great-grandfather, David, son of Andrei Kidel, was enrolled into Russian army in 1853. That was the time started the famous Crimean War.
Yeah, the Crimean War.
Yeah.
Yes.
At that time, military service was for 25 years.
Okay. 25 years?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
It was terrible, of course. I cannot imagine that.
Yeah.
Guy's ancestors were clearly made of stern stuff. But what of his grandfather Walter, or Voldemar's?
The very first document about Walters we have from 1935 census.
So you've been 15-year-old then?
Yeah, born in 1920.
Okay.
In Liepaja district, in Asite parish.
Yes.
School building.
Yes.
Voldemar, your grandfather, lived in this school building. You see, here we find under number 18, Voldemar's Kidels. Here's written he worked in agriculture. Right. He already started to be a peasant, let's say.
Right.
The most likely reason a teenage Walter lived at the school was because he was an orphan. But local records also reveal where his childhood home had been.
Near Asite, the family has a farm called Roshkalny, or Hill of Roses.
Okay, Hill of Roses.
Absolutely.
Roshkalny, that's what it's... Right. We need to go there for a look, don't we? Alex, thank you very much for your effort.
You're welcome, dear Guy. And welcome.
The last surviving resident with memories of Walter's time is an old ranger, Sigurd Spinger.
My granddad lived in a farm not far from here called Roshkalny. I just wondered how far that was from here, and is there any chance of a farm being there now or anything being there now?
Sakat lūdzu, Sigurd, varbūt esat par Roškalniem?
Tom Sillins will act as Guy's interpreter.
Kas īsti notiek?
Roškalna saimniecība, tā, ja es pareizi, kā saka, zinu un saprotu.
Could we go just to have a look, just to see if there is the land, you know,
surely,
how far from here is it?
I think Sigurd can show us the way there.
The only record of the old tracks and houses in Asite is Sigurd's 90-year-old hunting map.
Jau pēc kara liela daļa platības netika izmantots.
Are we on this road here?
Jā, robežas piegāja, te Polēņš mežsarga māja bija.
So we need to go up northeast and then start coming back down on ourselves. Yeah. Sigurd, thank you very much. Thank you. Top man.
Guy follows the directions to the place where his granddad was born. It was a thriving area during Walter's time. There were 319 farms, 2 windmills, and 3 dairies. Latvians worked the land hard, becoming one of the world's biggest exporters of butter and bacon between the wars. But late in 1944, long after Walter had moved away, the parish was flattened when caught in the Eastern Front crossfire between German and Russian forces. Today, nothing is left.
Come and have a look. See, mate, up the tree. Look at my view. That was Walter's view. What a place. Oh, I'm not going to get all deep in mania for the movie, mate. I just think It's just nice to look at what my granddad was looking at. It is a bit of a moving moment, yeah. You're not going to get any tears out of me, anything though.
Situated between Germany and Russia, Latvia was invaded 3 times in quick succession. Some 500,000 people, nearly a third of the population, either fled, were deported, or were killed. And yet the story couldn't have begun more peacefully.
(1939), the start of the Second World War. Look, as you can see here, Latvia is hunky-dory. Doesn't want any part of the war. Smart-looking folk. And it's James Bond, isn't it? Yeah, they look happy campers, don't they? Yeah, 1940. Who's this? This is the Russians coming in.
While the world was distracted by Germany invading France, Russia rolled into Latvia and seized power through rigged elections. They carried out a mass inventory. Every nut and bolt was now owned by the communist state.
And then this is anyone that put up a bit of a fight. Any Latvian at all that thought, hang on, I've worked all my life, I've earned this much money. And came out with a few choice words to the Russians. That was it, right. Get on that train, we're taking you to Siberia, mate. And that was it, to the gulags.
Latvians call 1940 the Year of Terror.
This is Latvia here, the KGB headquarters. Rubber padded room, plug hole in the corner, a torture chamber. The Latvians, as you would be, you're bloody sick to the back teeth of the bloody Russians. Your sons or your dads or your daughters all getting sent off to the gulags. They hated the Russians, they hated the Russians. Here we are, 41. World War II is getting going now. And now the Germans coming to Latvia. And it only takes them 2 weeks to push the Russians out. The Latvians welcomed the Germans in with open arms. Handing out flowers. Welcome the Nazis in. The Latvians are that sick of the bloody Russians. Yeah, little did they know, all was not good.
The Nazis entered Latvia claiming to be liberators, but they recruited a group of far right-wing Latvians and carried out some of the worst atrocities of the Holocaust, including the massacre of 25,000 Jews across just 2 nights in 1941.
Anyone that had a bit of a deformity, or you was Jewish, or you was, that was it, right. Torture them, send them off to the concentration camps. Look at them there, battery ends. I think all in all, was there 80,000 Jews that was killed out of Latvia. 80,000.
Then, desperate for more troops to face the Russians, Hitler ordered Latvian men, some as young as 16, to be conscripted into the Waffen-SS, the Nazi Party's military division. The choice was simple: fight for Germany or be shot.
My granddad had been amongst there somewhere.
Latvia's leading historical researcher, Valdis Kuzmins, works in the underground archives.
All right, Valdis.
Hello.
We found 3 documents where your granddad mentioned what he did during the war.
Right.
In all documents, his name is not Valdemars, but Janis.
Right. Janis.
Janis.
This is the actual record of conscription from 1944. It seems while Janis was his given name, he preferred to go by his middle name of Voldemars.
Yeah, date of birth there, you can't argue with it. Janis Kidals, 28th of the 2nd, 20.
There is 80,000 citizens of Latvia who were conscripted. Most of them were conscripts, 90%. They didn't have a choice.
So if my granddad avoided
Yes.
conscription,
Yes.
what would that have meant?
One of the biggest problems is that your relatives, your family would suffer as well. If you run away or hide as a deserter, for example. Your family might be sent to camp as well, or some land taken away. Right. First unit your granddad was sent to was 19th Artillery Regiment.
Yes.
So at the beginning he was an artilleryman, a gunner.
Yeah.
After extensive training, the 19th Regiment of the Latvian Legion joined the war in August 1944, fighting near Riga on the Eastern Front against the Soviet Red Army. But further records suggest Walter may not have actually served here.
The next document we found where his name is mentioned is 4th of April 1945, but this time he's not an artilleryman, but he is an infantryman.
Infantry.
And
so that was really the cannon fodder?
Yeah, cannon fodder.
It was expensive to train gunners like Walter, so to subsequently send him to the Latvian unit on the front line must have been as a punishment, most likely because he tried to desert.
At one point he decided this war is not for him, and he somehow escaped.
You've heard of this happening before?
Yes, sure.
Right.
I mean, thousands of times, thousands of
is that
guys.
right?
Yeah, people were trying to escape.
Many deserted,
Many deserted. And they were
for no reason to fight. They had no reason to fight.
That's right.
Yeah.
How Walter escaped is unclear, but the records show he was recaptured and sent to a Latvian division retreating west, on the run from a merciless Red Army pushing on to Berlin. There were just 5 months of the war left, and the Latvians were exhausted from trying to survive. It was something Walter rarely spoke about to his son, Guy's Uncle John.
I think it was too painful a process to talk about his past. On the few occasions he talked to me, it was certainly a horrendous experience. You know, he talked about his mate being took out by a sniper at the side of him, and marching on the roads and seeing people strung up crucified as they marched.
Really?
Yeah. Very tough.
So what they were hoping for, to reach Western Allies, Americans and British Army, and surrender.
And then you would be a prisoner of war of the Americans or the British.
That's right.
Right.
And there is a document number 3, which is a document prepared in British prisoner of war camp in Belgium. And in this camp we have Kidals.
Yeah, Janice.
And right here you can see some of the photos from that camp.
This was the mostly Latvians in
yeah,
this,
mostly
in this one.
Latvians, yeah.
At first, the Allies running the Belgium camp only saw SS uniforms. It would take more than a year before the Latvians were released, cleared of being Nazis.
You just think, and this is just one story. It's my granddad, just one story. Of how many thousand? 120?
120.
120,000. Yeah, it's hard to put into words.
It was
Thank
very
you very
interesting
much.
for us as well.